Whoa. Watch me break everything as I put my tablet on my desk. Jeez. Okay. Okay, so today we're gonna finish up the Leopods. Which are these tiny little swimmer legs, swimmerettes. We have some mesh collision there. Move that around. How do we want to position this? Let's do maybe I can just move all the legs down because it looks like they're not even in their sockets. It's very strange. Maybe I adjusted something and forgot to move the swimmerettes down. It's where they kind of look stretched almost. I wonder what happened there. Maybe I T-posed it and then had the pleopods masked. Hey Flute, welcome to the stream. You're the first one here, I think. I don't know. I'm just finishing up this. Well, not finishing. I don't think I could finish this guy in 1 2 hour long session stream. I'm just working on this sea monster, crappy sea monster. I wonder how many crab cakes you can make with this thing. A lot. Yeah, I imagine like one of these segments is probably like 2 or 3 Krabby Patties. Delicious Krabby Patty. Oh, 3 viewers! 3 whole viewers! Amazing. What am I doing now? Some kind of arachnid type creature. Yes. This is the Sea Monster sculpt that I was working on. I have a few. I post like previous Twitch streams to YouTube, and they're also here in the Twitch repository. But there's his nasty-looking face, which is I have to work on his mouth a bit. I didn't fix that area up yet. Yeah, super detailed. It's been taking a little while, but it should all be worth it in the end. Like move its claws. I always kind of like animating the limbs now and then. Let's see, just to make sure that they work. So you can like raise his arms up and down. Okay, so I'm gonna detail the first one and then just duplicate to the rest the neopods. How can I make this look a bit more interesting? Right now it's a bit blobby looking and not really. Let's go turn off the poly paint. That might be interfering with what I'm seeing. What polygon density is this at compared to like something else? I guess it's the same as that. It doesn't have any subdivision levels. Weird. I guess that's fine. Let's go add in some rough detail and then use standard brush without the alpha later. Are you am I mistaken, or is the mic quality, or the mic quality got fairly better? Maybe. I didn't get a new mic. It depends on when you last were here. If you were here for the very first streams that I did a while ago, those are pretty lousy. But since then, I've adjusted a few settings in OBS. It should be a bit better, hopefully. By the way, Fluke, the house in Terraria is going to be amazing. I have all these plans for like a, you know, like in Witcher 3, there's that city, whatever it's called. It's like a really cool looking medieval city. And I was gonna like build that on top of the stone foundation on top. And we like make like a roller coaster or something. It's gonna be great. myself some tea. I had some biscuits earlier, and I don't know, they don't taste very healthy after a while. Like, your mouth gets all sour and gross. I should probably go brush my teeth in a bit. Novigrad? Yes, that's it. That's the one. We'll just like put a miniature Novigrad on top of that floating rock. This this Pleiopod shouldn't take too long. It's a pretty small piece of mesh here. Pretty much done with it already, to be honest, but I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I have to make sure that everything looks, well, perfect enough until I do the final detailed pass. Oh, hey Taran! Welcome to the stream! I'm working on like a sea monster sculpt. I'm not sure if you've seen like the whole thing. Let me get out of solo mode. But yeah, this is like a Mirelurk on steroids or something for now. You can like move his claws up and down. It's a bit busy, so if I go into like solo mode, you can actually see the details better. This is the abdomen. Like a very, very interesting abdomen. Like see all the cavities and all the weird, crazy details in there. I can't wait until I paint this thing. I always say that, but yeah, it's gonna be fun painting it. Here's one of the, well, both of the front legs, sort of like modified legs that sort of transformed into claws, but they're not really claws. But they have like so many segments to them, so it could be a bit tricky to animate. We'll have to see how that goes. Now you can subscribe for free if you have Amazon Prime. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Every single streamer would ask that of people. Like, nah, I just want to see your content. I know, selfish of me, but whatever, I don't care. Alright, let's, I guess we can use, I use the move brush and move things around a bit, because The detail's there, but I feel like the structure isn't all that there. Like somewhere along the line of creating this, I must have warped the model a bit, so not everything is exactly as it should be. Wonder how this guy would taste in a sandwich. Like, what if you made a sea monster sandwich out of this? And, like, make a D&D character that just sells sandwiches. Be a brilliant idea. You really get a lot of perks with Amazon Prime, don't you? Like, I keep seeing, like, loot boxes and stuff you can get with Amazon Prime. Like, should I get it? I mean, like, I already have the stuff, though. I pretty much already have all the loot box stuff. I'm a tiny bit of a whale in certain video games. Bit. What's this 3D model meant for? This 3D model is meant for learning. Just trying to get better at creature sculpts and stuff. Like, you know how gamers, like, they get good by streaming and watching their past broadcasts. Well, I figured I can do the same thing and just stream and then figure out how I can make artwork faster or better. But I don't really rewatch my streams, so I guess it's a bit of a moot point there. But yeah, I can probably take this model into well, first thing I like retopologize it, which is like changing it from a high poly model to a low poly model, and then I can texture animate it and import it into Unreal Engine and see how it'll work there. Yeah, it'd be cool. Just like a fun side project. Because in my day job, I work on a game called Exanima, and I usually make a lot of plate armor for that game. But I also make creatures for it as well. I kind of make everything. Well, not everything, but I make a lot of things for the game. But sometimes I want to make something that the engine can't. The engine doesn't really have the capabilities for just yet. So in the Exanima game engine, it's all physics-based movement. So that means a creature with this many legs, which would already be very difficult to animate and then put into a game, is going to be even more difficult with an all physics animation system. Like, it would be a massive undertaking to animate this in Exanima. Oh, right. Bump up the Z intensity and use standard and switch up the details here. Yeah, gonna use some ancient magics, ancient alchemy. But yeah, this is mostly a practice model, but I kind of treat it like I'm making it for a job. So, yeah. I wonder, do these legs have like little hairs coming off of them? Because I know like shrimp have like hairs on these legs. I gotta go look at a reference for these swimmerets. 1 second, actually, I gotta go see if there's any like details I'm missing. No, not really. It just seems to be like a paddle attached to the leg. Right, going in the right direction, but in shrimp they're a bit more pointy looking. So what I can do is I'll mask up this part here. I want mask curve. So we'll go mask curve that, invert, smooth the mask, and then we'll just drag it out a bit like that. And that'd be more like a shrimp swimmerette. Yeah. And I guess I can go curve this again a bit. Whoa, it's chugging. This model is so complex. Hey, what do you want? Oh, just put it in the fridge. You want to say hi to stream? That's my girlfriend. She's really shy. Stop hitting me. Do I play any D&D nowadays? Not really. Like everyone that I know who plays D&D lives not in Asia, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a flaky bastard or something, and I don't know, like 4 hours, 2 4 hours is kind of a big time commitment. But I mean, I can't play like the same amount of time for Terraria anyway. So I don't know. Maybe it's just like the time zone stuff. And like I've kind of gotten into like making more artwork in the time slot that I used to play D&D. I don't know. I might get back into it one day. I mean, it was pretty fun. Like if you think about it, I kind of play D&D every day because I'm making creatures for a game, and like making video games is kind of like being a DM of sorts, but not really. So yeah, like everyone who plays Exanima would be the players of the dungeon, and they'd have to like run into the monsters that I I throw at them. And oh my god, there's a lot of really horrifying monsters in Exanima. By the way, if you guys like, I don't know if you guys like Dark Souls or anything, but man, it's a very difficult game to describe. It's not like anything I've ever played before. So if you guys are interested, I'll link you guys to the Steam page. Internet's so slow. Ah. Here we go. Oh, you have it? I didn't know that. Wait, Tyrone plays Xanima? Well, multiplayer is coming soonish. The rest of the team is working on that. I heard you'll be able to play like it'd be like continent-wide latency, or like you'd be able to play with other people in the same continent as you, but the physics will probably break if you play with people overseas. I don't know. The rest of the team is still working everything out. It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome to see what they come up with. Oh, Dark Souls is pretty fun. I was doing I did a Soul Level 1 challenge, I think last year. It was pretty fun, like looking up how to cheese every single boss. So it wasn't technically like a legit Soul Level 1 playthrough, but basically if you have the mountain, what is it called again? Like some sort of bow that shoots explosive arrows. If you have that thing, like I think it's like Giant Slayer bow or something, or like I want to say like mountaintop bow, but I don't think that's right. But anyway, if you have that bow, you can stand in front of a fog gate and just you can angle the arrows. If you just angle the arrows just right and use the special attack for that bow, you'll be able to shoot through the fog gate and hit the boss in the center of the arena. So I just use that on like every single boss, except for Nameless King. This is Dark Souls 3, by the way, not like Dark Souls 1 or 2. Also, the PvP is pretty fun. It's like invading High Wall of Lothric with a poison staff, Corvian staff. Real toxic gamer moments there. Wow, I just put in these details without even thinking. I was just like focused on talking really, and I'm just looking back at this artwork and I'm like, whoa, I did that? When did I do that? Add some segments here. I'm gonna turn these scales into segments so they're a bit flexible. I think that might help with swimming. Oh yeah, I think that was like Iron Pineapple. He did a video on Exanima. Like I used to watch Iron Pineapple before he ever did that video. I'm like, what the heck? He did a video covering the game I work on. It's so surreal, like seeing the YouTubers you like have on in the background and just like pick up Exanima and like the most surreal feeling ever. Like you always think like YouTubers and streamers, they kind of live like on a different planet or whatever. But no, like everyone's on planet Earth. Maybe you're also familiar with Blood-Borne? Yes, I am familiar with Blood-Borne, but I haven't played it. I love the art style in the game though, it looks really wicked. Like it's like Souls artwork, but times 1,000. It's not for PC though, is it? You have to get like some sort of emulator. I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't played it, because it's console only. But I could be wrong. I don't have a console, unfortunately. Alright, I'm gonna need to Dynamesh and Z-remesh this. I'm running out of polygons to work with. But let's try to get the rest of as much detail as we can into this area first, and then we can go do that. Wait, why is Lazy Mouse on? I don't want Lazy Mouse. Yeah, sadly a PS4 exclusive. Man, those games would be so good on PC. God. Like, can you imagine like a multiplayer Blood-Borne on PC? That would like be what everyone's playing right now. Or what if like they made Dark Souls 3 and then made it a bit more optimized and made like the art assets a bit more optimized as well, and maybe it's like somehow like push the multiplayer factor a bit more. They made like multiplayer if they enhanced the multiplayer side of Dark Souls 3, I think a lot of people would be playing it. Still, I mean, there's still like a very healthy community playing Dark Souls 3. Yeah, like a Dark Souls MMO. I don't know if that would even work, but that would be pretty cool. You like the Blood-Borne story and setting most? Yeah, it looks really cool, but I just don't have a PS4. It almost looks like Lovecraftian or something. Like it's set in like a Victorian setting or something like that, right? I thought I saw like some sort of Victorian top hat in one of the promotional uh, posters. And those weapons, they look massive and pretty intricate looking weapons. Like the weapons themselves, they're almost like characters, which I think is really cool. You can tell they put a ton of work into the weapons. Alright, this swimmerette is done. Let's... What else do we need to work on, actually? Alright, let's skip working on the swimmerettes for now, and then we'll work on the tail. Let's go detail that up, and then yeah, we'll go do our final, we'll copy all the swimmerettes, so we'll copy the details on this one all the way down on the last 3 swimmerettes, and then yeah, and then I'll Dynamesh and Z-remesh everything, and then do the final detail pass, and then maybe we'll actually be able to finish this tonight. I don't know. Maybe I can do like an extra long stream and finish it. That'd be pretty cool. And yeah, I can just work on the first one here because this is a duplicate, isn't it? To do that. This I need to subdivide. And as usual, we'll go to standard brush with the default ZBrush Alpha, whatever this is. It's really good. 7 intensity. Right. Good to go. Go do some rough details here. They don't have to be perfect as usual. Gotta get something in here so it's not blank canvas. It's not just kind of Lovecraftian, it's straight up Lovecraft. Sweet. Yeah, I've been trying to look for a really cool Lovecraftian game, but there aren't a lot out there actually. Like, I know there's like Call of Cthulhu. I think I talked about that in previous stream. There's the other one, but I heard it's buggy. We love using the music for D&D boss battles. Cool. I should listen to some Blood-Borne music. That sounds pretty cute. Something I'd like. Sometimes I just like listen to the Dark Souls 3 menu music. That just like puts me in the mood for 3D modeling. It's so epic. It's the most epic like medieval fantasy music ever. Really, all the music in like the Souls genre is pretty good. I can tell that these tail bits really need a lot of work. They're a bit too thick for one, a bit too chubby. Then they're very blobby too. I didn't really do a lot of. I should have done a bit more work on the blockout section of this model. Whatever, we can work with this. Detail, detail, detail. Okay, that's probably good for the rough detail. There isn't really much to work off of, so I'm gonna go to standard brush, off, and then actually put something in here that I can work with. What I'm gonna do is make these articulations, the edges here, more sharp. Then sides here really need work too. I was just thinking maybe I should only add the crease on one side, but I guess it looks good on both sides. Because if I just add like a crease here, it would look like this segment is protruding out from from underneath this plate here. So if I do that, it would look like a sort of like a collapsible cup or an accordion or something. Be nice, but this also looks good too. I'm just gonna go with this one here because I don't know. I feel like I want to detail both sides. Like the only reason. And EGMs be like yoinking every piece of music they plug into their sessions. Have you guys seen Critical Role? I think Matt Mercer uses Pillars of Eternity music all the time. Do you intend to make Rutopo streams? Yeah, for sure I'm gonna do that. I'll do both Rutopo and texturing and animation of this creature all on the stream. I Muko Flua says, Zethros, hey there, have you been working on the Xana project? Yep. I always work on that. That's my full-time job. Going very well. I'm making content for the arena patch that's coming hopefully quite soon. We want to release that patch out faster than the previous ones. My favorite instance of yoinking D&D music was the Zelda shop theme during a shop visit in D&D. Zelda music is really good. I like. I've never played Zelda, but I listen to the music. Like, I think my favorite one is like Very Well or something. It just has this really magical quality to it that I really like. Like something very well. I don't know. You just got into the game. It's a masterpiece. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely something different. Like a lot of games seem to follow certain trends. This one follows none of the trends and just goes on its own path. By the way, Fluke and Barry, I was thinking about getting you guys the game, but I'm not the lead game developer, and I can't just hand out free keys. maybe I'll give you the game if you. I don't know if Fluke would want it, but if you're interested in Exanima, I'll get you the game. Aaron. Yes, you like the Souls games. By the way, Muko, have you managed to defeat Sir? Quite a challenge, that one, especially for new players. I think when I heard that growl, I basically did a 180 and then closed the door behind me and then went back to the previous level. A good strategy for him is to like trap him somewhere where he can't move and then just stab him with anything long. I usually play like I usually use very cowardly tactics in video games. In D&D too. Oh, the stream's lagging a bit. I don't know. I heard that from some people that the stream lags a bit. Maybe it's because I'm in Malaysia. I don't know. Maybe it's like magical internet dragons that cut power to the internet every now and then. You like top-down exploration games. You might like Exanima then. Though, like, one of the common complaints about the game is the combat system. It takes a while to get used to. But people who have gotten past that part and learned how to fight in that game say that it's pretty fun. So yeah, I'll get you that game too if you're interested. There's been a recent update that put magic into the game, so now your character can use magic, which is the 0.8.0 update. And the magic in Exanima is called thaumaturgy. It's very interesting. Oh, it's always like this for you, for the viewer streamers. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, Twitch prioritizes larger streamers. Makes sense. All right, run people. All right, later, Barry. Have a good one. Oh, it's Odin. Hey, Odin. Welcome to the stream. Everyone, this is Odin. If you don't know who he is, then either you don't play Xenoma, or that's it, or you don't play Xenoma. But yeah, this guy's been streaming like his streaming schedule is like super consistent, and like streaming Xenoma even though there's been no content updates for like a whole year. I don't know how he does it, but he does. But yeah, I'm just working on a personal project of mine, which is this crab guy. I'm not sure if you've seen him or not before, but we're almost done with all of the detail. And then I'm going to retopologize, texture, and then animate him. I'm looking forward to the retopologizing and texturing, but I'm not too keen on the animation. It seems a bit intimidating. Whoa, that looks amazing. Thanks. It's not for Exanima, but if Madoc ever adds adds the ability to put creatures with this many legs into Exanima, I will happily oblige and send him a copy of this file. And then I'm gonna be watching gleefully from the shadows as you guys try to tackle this this monstrosity. I think there's a few that I've made, a few creatures that I've made for Exanima that we haven't seen before yet. So there should still be more coming in. But meanwhile, I'm currently working on arena content. Just try to de-blobify this this fin. I looked up how to pronounce and name all of the anatomical parts of a lobster, but I just can't remember them all. So I have to resort to using common words like fin and like that. I can name like all plate armor pieces off the top of my head though. You never seem to mention sui generis. Is this the main project? Well, work on when you're working on Exanima, you're also working on sui generis. So, like the way game development works is so. Even though we're working on Exanima, like all the mechanics that Madoc is working on can be transferred directly to sui generis. Like the only difference between Exanima and sui generis at this point is that sui generis is well, it's pretty much the setting, right? Like instead of grass and beaches and forest land, you have a bunch of labyrinthian tunnels. So that's basically the only difference between Exanima and sui generis right now. And like making those land masses is, I wouldn't say it's trivial, but it's super easy compared to putting in mechanics and making 3D models and all that stuff. So like once we have all of the mechanics, like procedural weapons is coming very soon. And once we have all of that stuff going, it's basically just building a landmass, which is yeah, pretty easy. Like build a landmass, you get kind of get like a height map. That was the word that I was looking for. You somehow generate a height map. There's different programs that will let you do this for free. That, well, no, not for free. I think like World Builder isn't free, but a lot of people use World Builder for landmasses. But I'm sure like Madoc will code his own way, code his own World Builder, because that's what Madoc does. He does everything, does everything on his own. We try to like limit third-party software as much as we can, and but yeah. Anyway, for landmasses, you just generate a height map. And this height map is pretty much an eagle-eye view of the entire landmass. I mean, I can probably generate a landmass height map easily in like 20 minutes. It's like filling it all out with buildings and towns and stuff, which is the hard part. And even then, it's mostly just tinkering around in the engine and just drag and dropping down assets that you've already made in a 3D application. So yeah, those who are like worried about sui generis not coming, it is coming. It's I want to say it's like basically already here. You guys are pretty much already playing sui generis. It's just that you're not on a beach or in the forest, and there's like no quests and stuff like that. Still gotta work on that part. Yeah, I'm looking mostly forward towards multiplayer. That's gonna be insane. Oh, fair enough, since the engine and asset are shared. Yeah. This part is looking kind of thin. I can move that down. Are you just sculpting with your mouse or using a pen? I'm actually using both. I use my pen for I usually use my pen for like details, like wrinkles and stuff, and just like drawing out the ridges. And then I usually use, with move brush like this, I'm using my mouse to move the mesh around. For armor, I primarily use the mouse, like to get those like perfect curves and make the armor not lumpy. You kind of use like slice curve. So if I delete the subdivision here, and I can like draw out like perfect Bezier curves, and that's very helpful for like making armor. I can just like cut the mesh like that, and then I can make something like a pauldron or helmet. I use that a lot. But for organic stuff like creatures, I use a tablet more often than the pen. So right now I'm using the pen, but I'm also rotating the camera with my mouse. I have like my pen in my left hand. It works out quite well because I'm left-handed and a lot of people are right-handed. I can sculpt with my left hand using a tablet and a pen, and then just like move the camera around with my right hand. Yeah, it's a super fun job. Like, feel like super lucky to be able to work for bare metal. Actually, there's a lot of artists who are like at my level or even higher in terms of skill, and I don't know. It can be hard finding a job as a 3D artist. I know it took me like 3 years of just grinding out uh, 3D models, just like posting stuff online daily. All right, I need to go. It was awesome seeing your friendly friend. All right, later, Fluke. Catch you in Terraria maybe sometime later. I don't know. Terraria is one of those games I really like outside of Xenoma. Like, for one, their dev team is really cool. Like, they seem like really friendly people, and second, like, the game runs like glass. Like, it's so well optimized, even for like like what they do. Like, no bugs in that game. Well, except for like a duplication glitch, but they patched that out. A few other things. There's a ton of content in that game too. I really like that game. Yeah, that new update is awesome. Yeah, like everyone's been playing it. I like watch Destiny 2 PvP streamers, and even they're playing it. Funny. It's funny seeing these like super try-hard sweaty streamers just go out and play like something that looks like for like 10 or 12-year-olds play. Yeah, it's a fun game. And I really should have blocked out this shape more in the blockout phase. Like right now I'm doing the details, but the details wouldn't really take this long if I spent more time blocking out the shape beforehand. Just putting in all the larger geometry and the larger details. I have to like press a bit harder on my mouse just to get some details in. I have to like, there we go, that might, oops, go save. The larger pen would work quite well for this. I feel like I've... Okay, and what I need to do is use clay buildup. I've been using other brushes too much. I need to use some clay buildup. Clay buildup is it's like a pen that I use for building up masses, like building up some more volume. Let's go turn down the intensity a bit. So, because right now what I see here is like a bunch of lines and a bunch of wrinkles, which doesn't really translate very well for like a lobster tail or like a crab tail. Or, like crabs don't really have tails, but get the idea. It's just like too much lines and too much wrinkles, and yeah, this is another problem why you should spend more time on the base shapes, the blockout phase. Otherwise, yeah, I have to go back and actually do it in the type poly. Maybe we should go, yeah, reduce the subdivision a bit, so I don't make all these weird lumpy details. Here we go. I'm gonna turn off poly paint as well, because that can be a bit troublesome. Alright, this is what I need. A bit lower poly of my clay brush. I just want to like knock down the areas that seem a bit lumpy and make the shapes a bit more refined. Right here in particular, you can see like there's like a lump right there and then it dips in. I don't really want that. I want like a continuous form. So maybe I'll even use move brush. This might be one of the reasons why it looks weird. I'll just fill that middle area out a bit and then push this part in a bit so it flows better, like the line. There we go. Of the side. Yeah, this side is a bit chunky too. Perfect. Okay, that looks quite a bit better than before. Now we can turn polypaint back on, and let's restore the subdivision to level 3. And there we go. Now we don't have to like waste a ton of time with clay buildup. It would have been a bad move. Go back to standard and sharpen up these flutes a bit. And make it really look more like crab carapace and less like ZBrush mud. Like muddy geometry. If you haven't wasted years becoming an English teacher, you would love to learn how to create stuff like this. Hey, it's never too late to learn. And like, the thing about game development is that, like, before I was a 3D modeler, I wanted to be like a concept artist. And then I went from concept artist to armor smith. So I would like make plate armor in real life, but that got nowhere. Like you can't pay the bills by being an armor smith. So well, I mean you could, but I don't know. I was like 18 or 19 at the time, so I had like no capital to make a actual workshop. But yeah, anyway, bit of a tangent there. But yeah, the good thing about like tech is that once you learn how to do 3D modeling, like even if the game industry dies, like which I don't think will ever happen, you can even like make 3D models for like other industries too, especially like architecture or even like a lot of cars these days are 3D modeled, which is how you get like those super sleek shapes because all the designers are making them in like Maya or something. And like 3D printing, just like so much bullshit is going on right now. But I mean, like the world needs English teachers too. But, yeah. I was always a horrible student. Like instead of doing classwork, I would like blatantly just draw in the middle of class. Like they couldn't really stop me from doing that. They just give me F on everything. I don't know. I guess I kind of knew like what I was gonna do at a very young age. So not everyone knows what they want to do at that age. So So I became a digital armor smith. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, my older brother was the guy who convinced me to uh, just like make armor in 3D. Like, hey, why don't you just make this stuff in 3D so you can actually sell it? You can make infinite copies of the same armor. Like, infinite copies? It's like Thanos snap moment, if Thanos snap existed at that time. But yeah, I guess it was a good thing that I made like plate armor when I was like young and broke. Because I think it translates into Exanima, like a lot of the armor and stuff. I don't think there's a game out there that actually uses proper armor terminology for the different parts of plate armor, like counter, cuisses, cuirass, pull-ins. So many different parts that people don't actually. I mean, like game developers could actually figure this out. Like they just go online and Google search plate armor anatomy, and they'd come up with all these terminologies. And it only take like 5 minutes, but they don't do it. It's a bit disappointing. Very good. It really pays off to do the research, and then you can make really cool shit. You know, you just like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Like I didn't know what uh, leopods were. Like I knew that shrimp had these little legs on the bottom of their abdomens. These guys here. I knew they had those because I mean everyone eats shrimp. Well, the ones who aren't allergic to shrimp. But I didn't actually know what the anatomical term for them are until I looked it up. What drove you from being a concept artist? Seems like an equally fun job. Um, I heard it's a very, very competitive industry to be in, and also, like, I think only like AAA studios are the ones that really only hire concept artists. I guess some indie studios do too, but I think it's like super hard to get like a job as a concept artist, at least like a full-time one. Like, and also the thing about being a concept artist is that uh, you're usually required to make art very quickly. You're supposed to like come up with really cool ideas as quick as you can and just jot them down as fast as you can into Photoshop. And I kind of like taking my time and actually like drawing things out and making sure that they're 100%. So that was one of the main decisions, one of the main deciding factors that uh, turned me into a 3D modeler instead of concept artist, because I figured, hey, if I like actually uh, putting all the detail in, and why don't I just like skip the middle part, being a concept artist, and just draw it all in 3D anyway. So I think I think a lot of concept artists have actually turned into 3D modelers that way. You can, if you really try hard, you can actually pick up ZBrush, the program that I have now. You can learn how to do 3D modeling in, um, I don't know, maybe like, if you've never picked up a 3D modeling program before, it might take you about like, I would say like 5 months to really grasp everything and truly understand what you're doing. But 5 months isn't that long of a time, considering if you've like never picked up a 3D modeling program before. Yeah. It is a little bit more technical than picking up a graphite pencil and just going at it on some printer paper. Yeah. Of course, it takes a bit longer than 5 months if you want to find a job as a 3D modeler, though. But like you can learn how to do this stuff in 5 months, I think. Maybe even less. Maybe even like 3 months. I don't know. Depends on how much time you spend on it, really. ZBrush is a really different beast compared to other 3D modeling apps, though. So, see, there we go. Like, there is some knowledge that is transferable across from, say, like Maya to ZBrush. But yeah, ZBrush is kind of like a completely, it's kind of like the black sheep of 3D modeling software. In that most programs are polygonal modeling. And polygonal modeling, let's just bust out like I'll show you guys what polygonal modeling looks like. So, whoa, there we go. Okay, so I have like a basic square here. Essentially, it's just a square. So polygonal modeling is, so ZBrush has a bit of polygonal modeling built into it, which is called ZModeler. So polygonal modeling is pretty much what it sounds like. You can do like extrusions, so you like extrude like a polygon and then like insert an edge loop, I guess. And then you like extrude this poly, and then yeah, you just keep doing that. Or you'd use like a pen and then you'd like draw out the polygons individually by hand. That's polygonal modeling. But ZBrush, you're working with like millions upon millions of polygons at the same time. And it's more like working with clay rather than working with polygons. You still sort of need to know how to work with polygons, though. It's a good thing to learn. Where was I? This one here. These guys. Yeah, that's pretty much the difference between ZBrush and something else. Dude, this crab piece looks so sick. Thanks. Yeah, I never knew that I would like creature sculpting this much. Like before, I was like completely obsessed about plate armor. Like that was like the only thing I'd ever sculpt in ZBrush. But making sculpting creatures is like completely a completely different thing. Like instead of having to be super rigid and super strict about where the lines are going to go, how the curvature is, the dimensions of plate armor, does it fit the base model, or does it fit the human body? You can just like it's a free for all, really. You just do whatever you want. It's very free form, which is nice because after working on like some plate armor after a while, like you're just like starting to see, all you see is like plate armor, and it is nice to bust out and just go crazy with ZBrush's tools every now and then, which is why I just do these on streams. Alright, this is almost done. And it's been taking a long time. I've just been working on the same thing for the past 20 minutes or so. But one thing I learned is you can't be lazy. I sent in some, I went to Jonah Loeb's stream once, and for those who don't know, Jonah Loeb is the 3D artist who worked on Skyrim, one of the 3D artists. He did the dragons for Skyrim, and also the Deathclaw for Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, one of those. Fallout 4, I think. He did the cooler looking Deathclaw, not the wimpy looking one in the earlier games. But yeah, I showed him some of my work for critique, and he's like, you're lazy here, weren't you? I was like, yeah. So yeah, good lesson to learn. Don't be lazy, otherwise other artists will pick apart your work like seagulls in San Francisco trying to grab your clam chowder. Alright, see you later, Odin. Love your streams. PKKA, Beaver, but then you can use your, you should incorporate animal patterns in armor. Yes, that is a good thing. Like, all this knowledge is very interchangeable. Just imagine if I can build like plate armor for this lobster. I know, like, it doesn't really need any more armor, but imagine like this lobster monster comes up and says, "Hey Zeth, I want some plate armor. Can I commission you to build me a suit of plate armor?" And I'm like, yeah, let's go do this, and then I'll like somehow make some plate armor for his helmet and for his head, not his helmet. I'll make a helmet for his head. I'll make a helmet for his second helmet. And then you can use. Oh wait, I already read that. Never mind. Yeah. You can also use like that knowledge for making embossed armor or repoussé and chasing armor. Repoussé armor, really. If you guys like search up, Negroili, he's a very prominent. Well, not just he alone, but his entire family was. The Negroili family was a very prominent family of Italian armor smiths. I think in the 16th century. And they would make some insane, basically best of the best embossed armor that you'll ever see. I don't know if I can probably talk about it, but can't say too much. But I am looking into embossed armor. Throw that out there for Exanima. That is something I am looking into. Wasn't just the Negroli family too. There's like a ton of really cool armor smiths and armories that make this stuff. I don't know if Helmschmidt would make embossed armor, but I think he was like a German armor smith. Helmschmidt would mean like helmsmith. But that guy made some pretty insane armor too. Mostly like high quality, high fidelity, functional plate armor. Almost done here. There's a few cavities here that might be a bit too severe in depth. Just filling those in a bit, plus it gives some nice little nodule details. Makes the carapace look a bit less perfect and more organic. Great. I think that's good enough for now. I think we can take this into the final detailing phase. So I'm just gonna copy this. Oh wait, I see something that I want to fix. I sort of want to make this a bit thinner actually. It's a tiny bit thinner. Do that. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I think this is good for now. So I'm just gonna duplicate this and rotate it into position. And then we'll delete the old mesh that's been sitting there. And of course I'll go back in the final detailing phase and really make the fins look unique to each other. That part's going to take a very long time, but it'll be worth it in the end. Let's go delete that. Right, so now we have two of the same copy here, full of detail. Okay. Right, so we gotta do the same thing with the pods here. Let's go delete all of these. Well, let's go copy them over first and then delete them. They're good to have there as a reference as to where to put the legs themselves. Yeah, it's really chugging now. I don't know if I can allocate more RAM to ZBrush though, make it not chug so much. You've definitely seen Philippa in the Rayleigh helmet design in Greedfall and Blood-Borne. Oh, what the heck? There's like auto mod. That's annoying. I clicked on allow. That's weird. It doesn't show up now. What the heck? I clicked on allow. But you've seen helmets of the design in games like Greedfall and Blood-Borne. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of artists actually look at Negroili's armor for inspiration. But sadly, they don't really look at other armor. So all they see is like Negroili's work and they're like, oh yeah, all armor is that decorated, that fancy. But they never really figure out how armor works, you know, and what makes armor armor. And really, like, armor isn't actually too complex. I mean, it is fairly complex. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not complex enough that you won't be able to not understand it if you take a few days and study it. Like, it's a doable thing. You can learn play armor quite quickly and readily if you just put in a bit of time. And it's worth it, especially for like if you're like an artist working on a medieval fantasy game or a medieval game in general. You do want to look at this stuff. Like a lot of medieval fantasy is based on the medieval ages, right? So you want to look at the original references, and that's another thing that I think game artists don't really do often enough, is that instead of looking at original photos and instead of looking at the original stuff, they instead tend to like look at artwork from other artists to figure out what they want to do, figure out what they want to draw or sculpt. But I feel like that's a bit of a detrimental thing to do because looking at another artist's work is how to say, it's not very accurate because even if you look at like the artwork of a very talented artist, there's going to be flaws. Like it can't be helped. Like humans are going to be humans, and humans will make flaws. So if you look at another artist's artwork for reference, then you're going to be adding those flaws. I mean, you will also add like their creativity and their vision to the artwork that you work on, but you will also be adding their flaws. So if you're studying something like plate armor, unless that artist also is an armorsmith and like knows how plate armor works, then you're going to be adding their flaws into your artwork. Just how things work. And there we go. We have all the pleopods copied. They don't look very good like this. They look too uniform. So I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to move them around and shrink a few of these swimmerettes, pleopods, or just like move them around a little bit just to add some variation. Maybe make the ones at the end a bit smaller. To do that first. Let's go change the scale of these swimmerettes one by one. Make them a bit smaller, sloping to the end. Yeah, that's right. That's a good description. It's like a translation of another translation, like kind of like a game of telephone. Like if you're at the very end of the line, which is kind of where you are if you're taking inspiration from another person's artwork, then the artwork you make is going to be a bit jumbled. Have you ever tried doing something really asymmetrical? Body horror monster. Yes, I have. I made some asymmetrical stuff for Exanima, but I really should do more asymmetrical stuff. The thing with asymmetry, though, is it's a lot of work. I gotta say, it's a lot of work to make asymmetrical stuff because not only do you have to do one side of the creature, you have to do both sides. But yeah, I'll do some asymmetry for this character actually, this creature, just because it has to have some asymmetry. Like, come on, like I gotta put some barnacles on this thing, on the shell, like some coral. Maybe make one claw bigger, or maybe just like completely different to the other claw. I don't know. There's still a lot of work to be done on this. But first, like, it's good to, for asymmetry, you wanna make the model first completely symmetrical. So once you add in the asymmetrical details, it's a lot easier because pretty much already have the entire model there. You just have to add the asymmetrical details. I'm trying to think here. Is this a good T-pose for modeling these swimmerettes? I don't know if it is a good T-pose. And like some of it's actually clipping to the mesh. I gotta fix that. A good T-pose would be 90-degree angles or around there. Well, it depends on the type of game you're working on and the type of animations you plan on. T-poses are a bit of a nuanced thing, actually. Like, if you're taking, for example, like a first-person shooter where the arms are oftentimes bent at the elbow because you're holding a gun, then the T-pose of that character would have fairly bent elbows. Like they wouldn't really be straight out unless this character is also going to be doing like acrobatic movements in addition to gunfighting. But if they're just doing gunfights, then wait, I don't know about this part. Maybe it's bent out a bit too much. If they're just doing gunfighting, then you do want the elbows to be fairly bent, so you can keep more detail onto the arms and have less distortion. And that's why I'm thinking. I'm kind of thinking about how this creature is going to be T-posed. Because now's a good time to do it. Now before like the very final detail pass. So these swimmerettes are basically just going to like paddle, do synchronized doggy paddles. That's pretty much how these things work, right? At least I think that's how they work. It might be beneficial to watch a video of like shrimp moving in slow motion to really get a sense of how these things would work, but I think I've seen that before. And well, maybe I should do the research, but I'll do it on my own time. I won't do it on the stream. Yeah, I think I'll separate these out a bit more. So when I bake the weight map, so I don't know if people know what a weight map is, but like in animation terms, a weight map is also known as like skinning in animation, is where you assign weights to every single vertex or vertices of the model. So depending on the value assigned to each vertex, that value determines how much a particular bone alters that vertex. Maybe I could have explained that better, but it's a little, I don't know, it's a little bit complicated. Basically, you have like a string of bones. So for like an arm with an elbow, that'd be like 2 bones, right? You'd have the upper arm and the lower arm. And you'd have all the skin around the bones, and the skin would be the model. So the upper arm would have maybe like a couple dozen, maybe even like a few hundred vertices. Well, no, maybe not a few hundred, but a couple dozen vertices assigned underneath it. They would be children to the upper arm bone, and they would react to how the upper arm bone moves. And if one of the vertices on the upper arm, on the skin, has a value of 50, then it would move about like 50% of the distance the upper arm bone would move in relation. So that's kind of how animation works in a nutshell. It's a bit more complicated than that. But that's kind of like the general gist of weight mapping. And that's why T-poses are kind of important, because guess that. God, I'm shit at explaining things, but yeah. Oh yeah, that comes asymmetrically animating. Yeah, that's another beast in itself. What stage is that Pokemon? Last time I saw it was cat-sized. This is roughly final stage, but Yeah, like you haven't even seen its final form yet. But all the memes. All right, I think I'm pretty much done with all of the rough detailing. I could detail the thorax here a bit more, actually, like around the tail. This area could use a bit more detail, but it's getting around the 2-hour mark of where I started. So we'll probably save that for next stream. I might detail the claws a bit before we end the stream here, because these claws have been like, they have a tiny claw jutting out from here. This tiny claw has been bothering me by how like not detailed it is this entire time. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some Daemon Standard and put in some details here. Because how they are now, they really don't look good, and they're just like hanging off the front of the model, and I really want to get that fixed before we carry on with the rest of the model. I'm just marking out the joints now with Daemon Standard. Very, very quick and easy. That'll probably do a bit of rough detailing with Standard Alpha. Pretty sure praying mantises have like a foot coming off of their claw, so that's kind of where I got the inspiration for this dangly bit here. I don't know, man. It just doesn't really look that good. Maybe I should just get rid of it. Maybe it's one of those details that I should just get rid of. They're a bit distracting to the overall shape. What do you guys think? Should I just like nip these off? Kind of feel like I should just nip them off. They don't really add a whole lot to the sculpt. But how about I'll just like save a copy of this with the claws on, and then I'm just gonna use and delete the top subdivision, delete lower. I'll just select loops this thing. Oops. There we go. Oh, it's chugging. Yeah, okay. That's weird. We'll delete that. Close holes, auto groups, select rectangle, and bam, put them off. Nice and painless, just like that. Like, smooth those out. Like as if it was never there in the first place. Whoa, chugging, 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 choo choo. I think that looks better. Not gonna lie, I think that looks better. I think like the small claw was kind of like a remnant of the previous idea of the monster. I think this looks a bit better. And now I can also make the claws a bit bigger and heftier and more monstrous. Let's just go like add a ridge here, and yeah, this looks a lot better. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't add like the claw in properly, you know? Maybe I just am not good enough with anatomy to make the claw look good. It's a good idea, but I think it's just poor execution, or it just didn't fit the monster correctly. Sometimes you have a good idea, but it just doesn't work with what you're making. Yeah, it looks bad, yeah. Just some like random dangly bit that we don't need. Also, it'd be kind of nightmarish to animate as well. Like these two tiny claws on these big claws. No thanks, I don't want to animate that. There we go. There we go. He looks mean as hell. Let's go make the claws really big. To do that, we'll go to solo mode, mask curve. Let's go mask out the ridge here. And then we'll just rotate it out a bit. That's going to give us a really nice crest right there that we can expand on in our final detailing phase. Whoa, chugging. Okay, there we go. This is one of the reasons why you have subdivision levels, otherwise it'd be a bit more laggy. It can be quite a bit laggy without subdivision levels. Gotta be careful about how we do this. I don't want them to look unnatural. Let's go use move brush and just do this manually. I'll probably work out a lot of this stuff next stream. There we go. That's fine. I probably shouldn't mess with that too much. But yeah, I'll definitely touch this area up later. I'm gonna do a final detail pass, and that'll really bring everything together. Before that, though, I might just go into transpose master and make sure all the proportions look really good before I do the final detailing. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end it here for tonight, guys. I want to go chill out for a bit, maybe play some Terraria, then go to sleep. But yeah, it was super cool hanging out with you guys. Rip extra claws, you've been there for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a mullet you have to cut off, you know. Looks good in the beginning, but kind of just have to get rid of them. Yeah, alright. Later, guys. Yeah, it looks much better without redundant parts. Yeah. Okay. Night.